Well, good morning, everyone. And it is literally morning. Happy to be here with you today. Raw food is still going good, although I did have a few cheats this week. I don't like to consider them cheats because basically I eat on cravings. You get sugar cravings, it's this desire for sugar and you have to fulfill it, but you'll do okay without. But there's also another type of craving that happens when your body really needs something. I guess this goes along the lines of intuitive eating, which I've always practiced, although I never really had a name for it. If your body wants something really bad, it will tell you. As far as I can figure out, the difference between that particular craving and just a craving for sugar is that when you start to eat whatever it is, you want to intake it, and you want to intake it fast, and it feels really, really good and nourishing to actually intake that thing. So, let's not go with the name cheats. I know that's kind of something in the raw vegan community as I've been studying this thing. But say for the past couple weeks, being that I've been very busy, I have not really had a chance to sprout things. So all my quote unquote cheats have been based in protein or beans. I told you at one point that it was kind of boring for me to count calories. Well, it's also kind of boring for me to count nutrition, but my Fitbit actually has a little section on it that I can put in my daily nutrition, and I basically see not only the calories that I eat, but also the nutrition. And I've been a little low on protein, a little high on fat, and a little low on protein. So I'm going to try to correct those two things and get it to the point where I'm going to drop my fat intake maybe to about 20%, and I'm going to up my protein intake. So I've been kind of going from 6 to 8% on what I'm doing. It's just time to follow these things until I get an idea of exactly what I'm doing. Anyway, I've been having those kind of cravings where one night I just took a piece of celery and started eating a hummus that my husband had in the refrigerator, and that kind of fulfilled what I needed as far as the protein was concerned. So I'm going to start experimenting with a raw version of hummus and see how it tastes. I honestly don't know how it's going to taste, but we'll get the idea. There's been a couple other cravings that I've had, and they've all been kind of protein based. So that's kind of a signal to me to figure out how to get a bit more protein. Another thing that I've been craving, and this is something that definitely is raw, or that you can eat raw, is the sea veggies. Oh man, I'm really, really craving a seaweed salad right now. The only thing is, there's one Asian restaurant in my town that actually has a seaweed salad, but it costs like $6 for one serving. And I know if I take that home, we love it. Pretty much I'll have to split it 3 ways, so that's not much. So anyway, I think I'm going to try to figure out how to make this. Even if I have to go to an Asian market, there's no real Asian markets per se around me because I live so rural. But if I have to, I'll just go into town and figure out what kind of seaweed is used, what the recipe is, and make some for myself because I really love it. I checked on nori wraps at the grocery store. All of them are roasted. That's not going to do me any good. Also, I had some Irish moss actually in my pantry, an unopened bag of Irish moss, because at one time I was going to make some Irish moss gel and maybe do desserts. Apparently it's like the vegan gelatin, if you can get it to go right. Anyway, I rinsed that off and pretty much soaked it for 24 hours. When I get home tonight, I'm going to experiment and figure out what I can come up with as far as maybe like some kind of fruity dessert. That's very exciting once I figure out what to do with that, because quite honestly, it's just like things that I've heard, and I'll be studying recipes for that and see what it does. So anyway, it's rinsed and cleaned and in my refrigerator waiting for me to turn it into a gel. It's kind of fun stuff, actually. Let me show you what I brought today, because one of them has to do with a sea veggie. Here's my traditional watermelon. I've really had a bunch of this summer, so just waiting for that. I've got an orange with me. This has been with me for a couple days. Today is the day I'm going to eat it, because I'm also having a citrus craving. And then for lunch, okay, so this is it right here. Okay, this is a salad. This basically is some leftover romaine lettuce that I had, also some kale. But let me open this up for a second, and let's just see the top of it. I also have spirulina in my refrigerator, and I tried it once. Actually, I made the mistake of actually trying it in a glass of water, and it wasn't tasting so good. So what I did was I covered the top with spirulina, and by the time lunchtime rolls around, I'm sure that some of the rinse water that I actually use for the lettuce will have this kind of decent texture. Smells good to me today. It didn't smell so good the day that I tried it in the water. But anyway, I've got that, and I've also got half of a lemon that I'm going to put over top of that, and that is going to be lunch for me today. There you go. You've got it. I will let you know how it tastes. Oh, and that reminds me, I was going to go into my grits recipe, raw vegan grits recipe that I did last week, and let you know how that tasted. Well, the initial creamy cashewy thing that I had on it was okay. I mean, it gave it some sort of a cheesy flavor. I had more of the ground cauliflower at home, so I just went into my kitchen and reinvented, and I just used a little liquid aminos, some nutritional yeast, and some vinegar, other stuff too. I kind of forget all that I put in there, but I've got it written down, and I will share it at one point exactly how to make it. I put it over top of the rest of the cauliflower, and it was just great. I'm not sure what the flavors did or how they melded, but it was almost like a smoked cheddar cheese over grits, and it was so fantastic. I mean, I never saw cauliflower go so fast in my life. Between my daughter and myself, we just totally enjoyed it. Anyway, back to the cravings. I'm trying to figure out how to tell what is a legitimate craving from a non-legitimate craving if your body does need something. And yeah, I had been a little bit low on protein. It was always like a bean-based something cooked that I was going after, per se, the hummus. Also, my husband cooks a lot of fake vegan meats, and I was like taking a little bit of what he was cooking. Even though I was intaking these things, I pretty much stayed raw all week because I didn't really want to spoil it. I'm not one to say, oh well, look what I've done now. Let me just start eating cooked food again. If you crave something, then there's a learning experience to it. So basically, I'll just get my sprout jars out and start sprouting again. As I think of sprouted food, it really appeals to me. Yeah, it's going to take about 3 days until I can have any, I guess. But, oh yeah, I did buy a bag of bean sprouts. They're in my refrigerator. Only thing is you can save a lot of money by sprouting yourself, and the sprouts are much nicer than what you get at the store. I'll start the mung bean sprouts again, lentil sprouts, and also alfalfa sprouts. I'm really, really, really craving the nori rolls right now, and I'd love to have alfalfa sprouts and other vegetables in a nori roll. Again, with the sea vegetables. So I've done my research actually on sea vegetables. They do contain a lot of trace minerals. Since I'm not much of a banana eater, or not a banana eater at all, I definitely do go for potassium food. Since I haven't done potatoes or anything, my body probably is needing it. Apparently, they're very nutritious. You do kind of have to watch it, but I'll just go on what I actually crave and the amount that I actually crave, and let that be that. I wish I had that seaweed salad right now, but no, I really don't want to pay $6 for something that probably costs a fraction of that to make. I'm just kind of hard-headed that way. So I'm really getting into the food prep and also what it's doing for me. My energy level has really gotten a lot better, and I can go and go and go and go and go. There are certain times when I will still crash. This was happening much more frequently in the beginning. It's getting better. The tiredness seems to be subsiding, and the energy is kind of kicking in. I'm just loving it. Also, I didn't really know where I was going to go with shooting this, whether I was going to like just make a few episodes about it or whatever, but just to give it a fair chance and to give you guys a fair chance just to see the progression, which is going good now. Honestly, I didn't know if it'd go good or bad in the beginning, but it seems that things are getting better. And I just thought to give it a fair chance, I would just do a 5-part series. This is going to be part 4, and then I will shoot one other time and pretty much let you know whether this is a good thing or this is a bad thing. At least in the beginning. I'm going to continue on, of course, until till winter time comes and I don't have fresh access to watermelon, and fresh vegetables and fruits and everything do get kind of mealy toward the end of the season. So, when that starts happening, I imagine I'll resort back to cooked foods. Where I'm standing, I see the value in raw foods, and I see, yes, they're definitely doing something for me. I don't necessarily see where cooked foods are bad. Just to mention tomato sauce. One thing about tomato sauce is you don't necessarily get a lycopene in a raw tomato, whereas cooking brings that out. So, I guess there's advantages and disadvantages to all that. And right now, everything is experimental. I don't know. I'm not speaking from the mountaintop as if these are things I know for a fact, but it seems to me that there are certain vegetables that certain qualities of them do get enhanced by cooking, not only as far as flavor is concerned, but also what they can do for you, like the humble tomato. Now the thing is okay, if you bring it up into temperature, you do kill the vitamin C, but then you promote the lycopene. It's always makes for an interesting study. No plans to be a high raw vegan. I certainly want to give it a try here and see how it goes. I'm definitely going to shoot more videos, and so definitely you'll see the progress too. And I want to definitely give raw foods a chance. I do see advantages here. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to see more. As always, thank you for watching, and have a good day. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Oh yeah, sure.